Hello everyone, my name is Joey Panganiban from the Philippines, and today I am going to present to you the CSS box model. Everything in CSS has a box around it, and understanding these boxes is key to being able to create layouts in CSS or to align items with other items. In this presentation, we will take a proper look at the CSS box model so that we can build more complex layout tasks with an understanding of how it works and the terminology that relates to it. What is the CSS box model? The CSS box model is essentially a box that wraps around every HTML element. It consists of margins, borders, padding, and the actual content. All HTML elements can be considered as boxes. In CSS, the term box model is used when talking about design and layout. The content area is the innermost layer of the box containing the real content of the element, such as text, an image, or a video player. It can be sized using properties like width and height. In the standard box model, if you give a box a width and a height attribute, this defines the width and the height of the content box. Any padding and border is then added to that width and height to get the total size taken up by the box. Let's assume that the box has the following CSS defining width, height, margin, border, and padding. The space taken up by our box using the standard box model will actually be 410 pixels of the total width, and the height 210 pixels from the sum of 150, 225, 25, 5, and 5, as the padding and the border are added to the width used for the content box. Note that the margin is not counted towards the actual size of the box. Sure, it affects the total space of the box that the box will take up on the page, but only space is outside the box. The box area stops at the border. It does not extend into the margin. You might think it is rather inconvenient to have to add up the border and padding to get the real size of the box. You would be right. For this reason, CSS had an alternate box model introduced sometime after the standard box model. Using this model, any width is the width of the visible box of the page. Therefore, the content area width is that width minus the width for the padding and border. The same CSS as used would give the result of the width 350 pixel height and height 150 pixel. By default, browser use the standard box model if you want to turn on alternative box for an element you do so by setting box setting border box on it. By doing this, you are telling the browser to take the border box as the area defined by any size you set. If you want all your element to use the alternative box model, and this is a common choice among developers, set the box sizing property on HTML element, then set all other elements to inherit that value. If you want all of your element to use alternative box model, and this is common choice among developer, set the box sizing property on the HTML element, then set all other elements to inherit that value. In this example, you can see two boxes. Both have a class of box, which gives them the same width, height, margin, border, and padding. The only difference is that the second box has been set to use the alternative box model. The margin is an invisible space around your box. It pushes other elements away from the box. Margin can have positive or negative values. Setting a negative margin on one side Setting a negative margin on one side of your box can cause it to overlap other things on the page, whether you are using the standard of alternative box model. The margin is always added after the size of its invisible box has been calculated. We can control all margin of an element at once using the margin property, or each side individually using the equivalent longhand properties. Longhand properties: margin, margin top, margin right, margin bottom, and margin left. The borders drawn between the margin and the padding of a box. If you are using the standard box model, the size of the border is added to the width and the height of the box. If you are using the alternative box model, then the size of the border makes the content box smaller, as it takes up some of that available width and height. For styling borders, there are a large number of properties. There are 4 borders, and each border has a style, width, and color that we might want to manipulate. You can set the width, style, or color of all 4 borders at using the border property. To set the properties of each side individually, you can use border top, border right, border bottom, and border left. To set the width, style, or the color of all sides, use the following. Use the border width, border style, and border color. To set the width, style, or color of a single side, you can use one of the most granular longhand property, border top width, or style or width, style, or color, border right, and so on. In this example, we have used various shorthand and longhands to create borders. The padding sits between the border and the content area as white space. Unlike margins, you cannot have negative amounts of padding, so the value must be 0 or positive value. Any background applied to your element will display behind the padding, and it is physically used to push the content away from the border. We can control the padding on each side of an element individually using the padding property. Or each side individually using equivalent longhand properties, padding top, padding right, padding bottom, or padding left. Your browser developer tools can make understand the box model far easier. If you inspect an element in browser DevTools, you can see the size of the element plus its margin, padding, and border. Inspecting an element in this way is a great way to find out if your box is really the size you think it is. Thank you for listening, and here again, this is Joey. and goodbye.